You've been begging for that for weeks, Aaron. You finally got what you wanted.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, well done.
Well
done. You wore me down. Good evening, everybody, on this very wet and windy Bank Holiday Monday. Never mind the weather, we've got racing. What can be better?
Damn straight we do.
Right, so we are in USA, Austin, for this twat of a track. And then, gladly, we get to go to Azerbaijan, which is scenic and should give us some close quarters action. As always, Aaron, you've already heard his lovely dulcet tones this evening.
Yeah,
how are we doing, buddy?
Everyone.
I heard you've been Bob the Builder in all day.
Bob the Builder all day. It's been a bit of a hectic one, but that bar is nearly ready for the Euros, so fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, indeed.
Gonna happen.
Right, so let's just give you a rundown on what happened last week. Then, so where were we last week? We were Hungary. No,
we were Abu Dhabi.
Abu Dhabi and
Italy.
And Italy. There we go. Was it Italy?
It was, yeah. It was Temple of Speed.
Yeah, man. Oh, man.
And we saw
memories off.
Both drivers of the day. So driver of the day for Abu Dhabi was Albert, and driver of the day for Italy was Joseph Morados. If that jogs your memory somewhat.
Nah, not really. Right, so it looks like we're about to get cracking here with everyone readying up for USA. I don't have much to say about USA because honestly I haven't raced it that much, and there's a reason for that.
It's not one of my favourite circuits, if I'm completely honest with you. I'm not a fan. Baku, on the other hand, I don't mind. Is it going to be? I can expect a lot of action there.
Yeah, Baku, I'm looking forward to. Can we just skip like 45 minutes ahead, get to Baku? Because I've not really got much to say about this one. I mean, I don't like the track. It's not a fun track to drive. It's not particularly. I don't think it's a very entertaining race to watch normally as well, is it? The USA Grand Prix,
not hugely. They do a big parade at the start though, in typical American
style.
There's a massive parade, all sorts of stuff going on. We won't have that, of course, but
what are you talking about?
We can imagine. We had Gina G. As good as a parade, isn't it?
About as good as it gets around here. It's about as professional as it gets.
Interview tonight with the one and only Chatty Duck.
For a bad reason, though. He's got a qualifying ban.
Tut, tut, tut.
Tut, 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 indeed. And it looks like, as well, there might be a qualifying ban for Patterson as well. So, yeah.
Could be a couple of boys to watch there from the back of the grid, which will be quite exciting for this.
Absolutely, yeah. Two quick drivers there that could be at the back, so that could make it very, very interesting early on.
Isn't it? Right, let's give him an invite. Let's get Chatty into the party. As you know, he's got 15 minutes now where he can do absolutely nothing.
I can't wait to find out if Chatty Duck is chatty. Oh, Aaron, you've left the voice chat. Well, see that, mate. On my ones, yeah. Was it something I said? Didn't mean it. Oh, you've come back. How nice of you. Thank you. I was getting worried there for a minute. I was separation anxiety.
I clicked the wrong button, didn't I? Clicked the wrong button.
So
There we
glad
go.
you're back.
He should be heading into the party any time now. Anytime
Anytime you want, chatty. Right, looks like Butters is going to be the first car out on track. No, we've got Osborne who's beaten to it. So Osborne in the Haas, he's got his new teammate, the Hound, accompanying him again this week. Good to see the Haas seat finally filled in this league. I think that's most seats now filled. We've only got one driver missing this evening, we should say. That's the Racing Point of Nick. Can't make it this evening, so sorely missed. But his teammate Albert will be looking to pick up the points here to keep that strong charge going in the Constructors' Championship for those guys. We've got a full grid other than that, though. So 19 drivers on the grid, ready to go.
Yep, and there's going to be plenty of action. We're still waiting to see if Mogi can get into the podium position. We've had 2 weeks now where he's been close to that subway that he was promised.
I'm not thinking
Darren,
about it.
I don't know if Darren's watching, but I'm sure there was another bet that someone had on as well in the Discord. I can't remember what it was, but I'm sure it'll come to me at some point soon.
Bet about tonight's race or race on the weekend?
Oh no! To be fair, we've got to just. As I sit here and I watch this McLaren of NUFC fan Liam going around the circuit, we do have to bring up the fact that what the hell was that half pint all about, Liam? What was that?
It's too early.
I don't care. I'm getting
too early to be bringing that up.
I was shocked and appalled.
Yeah, it's shocking. It's undeniable. I mean, I get it because he apparently was driving. I could see, he looked like he was,
and drive, bitch.
Whoa! Hold up. That doesn't fit in with the F1's, slogan about drink driving.
It does when Grant's going, to be fair. So anyway,
I heard he's a second slower when he's not on the sauce.
We're now joined by the one and only Chatty Duck. How are we doing, mate? You okay?
Yeah, very well. How are you guys?
Yeah. Up for it.
we're there. We're here.
You sound it.
So, quali band tonight. You've been a naughty boy. What's the plan?
Drive fast, I imagine.
Survive. Yeah, drive fast. Don't get any corner cutting penalties, which is going to be very difficult around here.
I was going to say, you've heard me and Aaron slagging this track off. Do you actually like it? I mean, just trying to find someone who does.
It's okay. Like, well, if you put the time in on it and actually get into a rhythm on it, then it's all right. And like the first sector with the S's can be quite satisfying, but most of the time, yeah, it's just a bit of a slog, really.
Yeah, so it seems it's just a difficult one in the sense that as soon as you come offline, there's no real you can't really make any decent moves offline and expect to then be able to string the rest of that sector together cleanly. Do you know what I mean? It's
and that's
quite
why
for a wide track, it's unforgiving.
Yeah, and like I say, like if you can find that rhythm and that flow, then that's when it is a lot better. Because you do actually feel like you can hook up a lap, but yeah, most of the time it can be quite a struggle.
So I think, are you looking for decent race here, try and get in the points if you can, and then looking towards Azerbaijan, or is it just going to be flat out from the get-go?
Yeah, well, I mean, in Abu Dhabi last week, I crashed at the first corner, and I was near the back, and I was still able to finish second. So I think that I can potentially get up there. I might need a bit of help from a safety car or something, but I'd like to think I could still get in the top 5 in this race.
Top 5 at the moment in the Drivers' Championship as well, just a couple of points ahead of Osborne, and a fair way back from NUFC fan Liam. So you need to obviously try and get as many points as possible from that Azerbaijan race if you are going to struggle around here. But who knows, as you say, you might go from last to first. We've seen it done before many times already. Obviously, you've got a very fast driver to beat in Grant, and we've seen in the earlier races this season already, he's been quite dominant. But do you think that, at some point this season, someone in this pack is going to have something to get over him and, finally take a win off of him on this 10-win streak he's had?
I mean, I honestly think that when I'm at my best, I could challenge him, but it does take a lot of factors to be just right for that to happen. Because his general pace is a lot quicker than all of us. But there are the odd races where, strategies wise, things can happen with safety cars and whatever, and it can mix it up a bit. But the thing about Granty as well, like, he's so quick, and also when it comes to the second race, when he's generally coming from the back of the pack, he's so good at like overtaking in traffic as well. So I often find if I'm slightly ahead of him at the start of the second race, he just gets past really easily, and then just all of a sudden he's like 5 places in front of me because he's overtaking everyone so easily, and I tend to get stuck behind drivers.
Do you feel that could be a tendency of the fact of that, other drivers on the grid have seen how dominant he's been so far this season, that when he appears in their rear view mirror that they get a bit, pressurised almost to get out of the way?
Yeah, that probably is part of it, but I just think it's down to how skillful Granty is ultimately.
Yeah, definitely. Still a huge element in there, isn't there?
Yeah, because I often find that I get a bit nervous when I get near people sometimes, because I don't want to get damaged or get into an accident, and that sort of hesitancy can really hold you back in those split-second decisions when you need to be, aggressive and going for it. And he seems to be a lot more in control of that, which is, why he's on this streak, really.
Definitely. Right, well, I think, Tom, we should probably cross over to the action from the
circuit.
circuit.
We should get chatting on the action. But thank you very much for that. It was very good interview there. Very, to the point, and very professional, I thought. Yeah. We'll have to work on some proper questions, though. Good luck for the race, though. As we say, we'd love to see you go from last to first in this race. So put on a show for us. No pressure.
Yeah, cheers. I'll do my best.
All right, man. Take care.
Take care.
Yeah. Cheers, boys.
Right, on the track then. So we've had, obviously, a majority of the field already set their times, and we're riding on board with Butler, who has just set the second fastest time so far, a 1:31.8. Fastest time so far belongs to NUFC found Liam at 1:31.6. We did see Granty Boy on a just maybe like a touring lap, really, just maybe trying to get a feel for the circuit, whether he can get the job done on mediums. It looked like he was having a go at, and we'll get the tyre data up now to see who has set their time on the mediums and who has set theirs on the softs. So it looks like pretty much everyone who's set a time so far, has gone on the softs. But it looks like a couple of people are trying the mediums, and one of those looks to be Granty Boy as he's on his out lap. Yep.
Yeah, it's the usual trio there on the L mediums. We see Albert, ZGS, and Grant. All three tend to try their first run on the medium tyre. We've seen it multiple times so far this season. But Joseph Rados now, quickest driver on the circuit with the 1:30.8.
Yep, cracking lap there. That's a good, 8/10 quicker than the NUFC fan Liam's time. If only you could manage a full pint. Slow on the track and slow on the booze. Never mind, one day he'll graduate to adult sizes. Right, James Punt. Let's ride on board with James Punt. He's just setting off on a hot lap, so let's keep on board with him and watch him through this lap. No pressure if you are watching the stream. Just for an idea of the track and maybe why we hate it, because it's quite a long lap round here, and there's so many places where I feel like you can make mistakes, and there's so many difficult areas of the track to hook up. Don't get me wrong, you've got a nice long straight as well where not very much can go wrong. But, there's a lot of tough turns here, a lot of, blind apexes and, a lot of, what am I trying to say? Change in height. I can't think of the word for it, but, elevation. A lot of elevation changes.
Yeah,
God, why is that so difficult? I've not even had, one beer yet.
Obviously,
is this what NUFC fan Liam feels like after a half?
I think so. I think you could well be. You're suffering from that now. That's
probably, yeah.
There's one corner that you don't think is necessary. As the track goes on, you don't necessarily think it's going to be a problem, but I find, personally, from my perspective, the last turn on this circuit can be an absolute pain in the arse, because you've got to ride the curb to get a decent exit, but in terms of putting the power down, it can throw you so quickly
Let's watch James Punt go around it now, see how he manages it. So he's not really taken much of the curve there at all. It's pretty smooth, but it may not be the quickest round there, but he certainly puts in a quick time overall in fourth place. Very cautious, yeah, that's what I would say. Interesting to see that Grant has set his lap finally on the mediums, but hasn't got enough to beat Joseph Rados so far. Obviously, we anticipate that he'll now maybe get a lap in on the softs to try and take pole position. I can't see him just settling for second place. He'll want to take that away. We have got a couple of drivers currently out on hot laps at the moment, so we'll keep you up to date with people as they cross the line. It looks like Leonard Cam is one of those drivers, and on the sector screen there you can see that he's currently 6/10 up on his previous time, so that will be a nice leap up the leaderboard for him if he can maintain it in this final sector. Again, another driver that doesn't use any of the curb on that final turn. Let's see where it puts him. He's going to jump up to 7th, so good lap there. We've also had, was that Mogi put in a quick lap as well that's just jumped up?
Mogi has jumped up to P3.
Jumped up to P3, so yeah, Mogi and Butler for the Williams team looking quite strong already, 3rd and 6th respectively. Down the bottom end of the order, we've still got a couple of drivers yet to set a time. D. Lawson's retired as well. That must have been an accident on track, because I don't think he's got a qualifying ban or anything like that.
No, he's done a lap on the softs, so I don't actually know what happened to him. He disappeared quite early in the session, I think, during the interview with Chatty there.
Now, one driver we will need to keep an eye on, who looks like he's maybe struggling, unfortunately, is Trem. He's not set a time yet, and this current lap he's on is invalidated. So whether or not he's going to go for another run on these tyres, he might have to, because it's a fairly long lap to get in, get out, do an out lap, and then set another time. It's going to be close if he can get that done or not. But we'll maybe pick him up a bit later in his lap, see if he can get the time done. Finally, Osborne's heading into the pits with a 1:32.3. Maybe just got a bit of time there to sling another set of tyres on, see if he can do any better.
Another
Wheeler
driver is Albert as well. Sorry, he's out on his hot lap as we speak, and it looks like he's got a fair amount of pace. He's on the medium still. Whether we'll
he's just invalidated. So that's pressure on Albert as well now, because he's either going to have to put a time in on these mediums that are going to be bedded in for 2 laps now, or he's going to have to quickly dive into the pits, see if he can get a set of softs on maybe, and try and set a time before this session expires, because there's only 4 minutes 50 left, so not long at all. Pressure's on those guys at the bottom there. Wheeler was the driver we were keeping an eye on. He's unfortunately not improved on his time, 3/10 down on his quickest so far. Chatty Duck's teammate Preston Mixer flying the flag for Ferrari tonight in qualifying. He's currently 7th, so good time for the Ferrari driver there. Butler is on the mediums. I'm not too sure if this is just maybe getting a bit more practice on the track, or whether he thinks he can improve on the mediums, because I think his first time was on the softs.
Trem just coming around the final corner now as we speak. He's getting the power down. He's going to set a 1:32, almost dead, so he puts himself P8.
Yeah. So despite having to go for another lap on that set of soft tyres, he has set a quick enough time there to get himself into the top 10. So good work there from the Red Bull driver. Butler comes into the pit, so yeah, that might have just been a bit of practice for him there on those medium tyres. And it looks like most of the drivers at the moment are either on sort of cool down laps, or just on out laps, or in the pits trying to sling a set of tyres on. Let's have a look and see what Albert's trying to do then. So I think Albert, unfortunately, if he was trying to set another lap on these medium tyres, has invalidated this one as well. And this could be a problem for Albert now, because he's only got 3 minutes 30 seconds to try and get round and put another lap in, but he's going to be trying to do it on 3 lap old mediums by the time he gets round.
Yeah, I don't know, are you going to have the time to put another set of tyres on at this point? I'm not too sure, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, it's probably not going to be. He's going to have to stay out and try and set a time.
We could be in for a right treat from the back of the grid here, because if Albert can't get those tyres on and has to start from P17, you look at
those 3 drivers at the back there, Chatty Duck, Albert and Patterson, all drivers that, we see quite regularly at the top end of the grid, so could be fireworks from the get-go here. A couple of drivers at the front are now heading out on out laps to try and set their final runs for this session. So it'll be James Punt, Mogi and Joseph Rados trying to improve on his current time to see if he can really secure that pole position, because I mean, Granty Boy hasn't come out yet. He's still in the pits. He has selected the soft option, it looks like, so we expect him to come out fairly soon.
Yeah, we've got a few drivers now entering the circuit on their outlap, so pressing mixers, that means, pressing mixer, the Hound coming back out for an outlap again, but he's on the medium tyre this time, so they're down in P15, whether he's hoping he can improve, he's invalidated, obviously on his outlap. Trem retires from the session though.
I think that's a retirement in pits.
I think that is in the pit lane.
He's happy with his time. He's got nothing else to improve on there. And it was a good time, to be fair. As we said, he's not going to have time to get another tyres on, get an outlap done. So I completely understand the retirement. Riding on board with James Punt at the moment. So James Punt currently sits 5th. Quite a quick time, the 1:31.7. He's going to have to improve by just over a tenth if he wants to take 4th for NUFC fan Liam. He's got a couple of tenths to make up if he wants to get himself up into 3rd. And a lot more to make up if he wants to get himself on the front row of the grid, but it's certainly not out of reach here. We will keep an eye as he comes across the 2nd sector timing line. He's currently 5 tenths up on his quickest lap so far, so if he can keep this going, he will at least, by the looks of things, give himself a chance of getting into 3rd, and if he can have a brilliant 3rd sector, he might even get himself onto the front row of the grid at the moment with this time. But let's ride on board. Again, no pressure for the Mercedes driver. He's got 2 turns to go. This one's quite nice. You've just got to be careful if you don't take it too wide and invalidate your lap. And then this is the turn you were talking about, Aaron. He takes a lot more of the curb this time. We saw him quite cautious last time, but he does get himself up into 4th. So it's a risk reward, but it pays off. It's only a couple of hundredths off of 3rd place Williams driver Moby. Joseph Murados has gone out on another lap, and he's currently a 10th up on his quickest, which will only secure him pole position even more than he's already got it secured. Should be said that Granty Boy is on an outlap though. Go on.
He is, yeah. I just watched Albert as he came round again. He did try a 3rd lap on those tyres, and I'm beginning to wonder how much fuel he's got in that car at the minute, because
it's a 138.
And yeah, unfortunately, he was a little bit slow coming through sector 3. So I don't quite know, obviously, how much fuel he's got. As I say, he might be running that in lean mode now, but he's seems to have had a bit of a struggle this qualifying session, unfortunately, and with...
talking of struggles, sorry, Joseph Murados on his final run here, unfortunately. It looks like he was down on his time anyways, but he has spun off the track there in Sector 3. So he's not going to be improving on his time. Now we'll just ride on board with Granty Boy then. Qualifying has ended, by the way, so this is going to be the final order as the drivers cross the line now. Keep an eye out on the timing section at the top there to see if Granty Boy is up. I think I saw a purple Sector 1 earlier in this lap, and let's have a look and see as he comes around this corner now if he's going to have enough to take pole position. He's 8 tenths up at the moment, so providing he has no disasters in this final sector, you are currently looking at the pole sitter. Just needs to keep it together and hope that he doesn't make any mistakes. That's where Joseph Murados fell off the track, by the way, that turn there, just getting the power down. One of those really tight hairpins. You know, he tried to go wide, but just a little bit too early on the power. Nice and steady through the final 2 turns for Granty Boy then. Doesn't take too much of the curb there, just keeps it nice and smooth. And that's a 1:29.6. Absolutely obliterates the next nearest time by over a second. So, again, just goes to show the dominance. NUFC fan Liam, however, is on a flyer, so we're not quite done. He's just coming round to the final 2 turns now. He was, I think it said he was a 10th up so far, but he's invalidated there, and that's what we said about going wide on that corner. You carry, I think you're in 7th gear going into that corner. You've got to drop down to 5th, and it's quite a bit of speed, and you've got to be careful not to take it wide.
It is a tough turn there, you're almost, because you can't see the exit or the width on the exit, you've got to kind of just gauge it by the amount of curb you're taking on the inside there, so it's...
Still, it was a good qualifying for a lot of drivers there. We've got the, again, usual suspects that we'd normally see in and around that sort of top 8, top 10 down the bottom. So it's opened up the grid a little bit. We'll start from the back. Obviously, we've got D. Lawson, unfortunately, didn't set a time. Patson Chatty Duck with qualifying bans. Albert, who had the nightmare on the medium tyres, and with invalidating his laps, unfortunately. So the best he could manage was a 1:38. And then the Hound looked to be struggling as well, 1:35. But then from there on out, you know, it's no more than sort of 3 seconds off the pace. ZGS, Woolsey, Osborne, and Butters making up the outside of the top 10. And the top 10 as it stands, so we've got Granty Boy on pole, Joseph Moraldos, Butler, Mogi, James Punt, NUFC Family, Impressive Mixer, Trem, B Wheeler, and Leonard Cam. Had to get that all in before it disappeared off the screen. I think I did a pretty good job there. Right. I think we've got time for beer chat.
Oh, I think we do.
No jingle this week. Aaron, what's going on?
No, we're not jingling, but I've got some super special beer this week for a bank holiday. I've gone with a collaboration beer. It's a collaboration between Northern Monk Brewery and Drew Millward. It's called Mangoes On With Faith, as in mangoes or mangoes. It's a mango pale ale. It's 5.4%. It's predominantly brewed by the Northern Monk Brewery. And it's, I must admit, I've actually chosen a glass for this because it was in a can. It looks like orange juice, not going to lie. But
and what does it taste like?
It tastes like a mango beer. Just a mango beer. And they've worked it well. The balance is perfect. Everything about it is good. It tastes like it should be less than 5.4%. You could absolutely sesh it on a nice sunny afternoon. I'm giving this a solid 8. Nice.
It's very rare for a fruity beer to get it right. And I've got one here as well that I'm quite impressed with. This is aptly named We're Jammin'.
Nice.
It's a strawberry lager.
Nice.
So already I'm loving the name. Comes in a can from the Hop Foundry Founders Batch. I don't know what brewing company that is. I've never really heard of them. This was picked up for me, so I didn't buy it. It is a 4.5, and I'm a bit dubious when I hear strawberry in beers because I'm not a massive strawberry fan in terms of that flavour when it comes to drinks. For example, strawberry Ribena is like the worst thing in the world. But for a beer, it's very very subtle, the strawberry in this. I'm going to have another little taste. Hang on. Yeah, if you didn't tell me that there was strawberries in it, I wouldn't know.
What size can is it? What size?
440.
So it's no good for Liam then.
No, he'd manage about a third, I reckon.
Yeah, he needs that.
Even then, he'd ask for a bit of lemonade in it, just to.
Can I take it home? Can I take the rest home, please?
It's because it's a strawberry beer that I actually like. It's getting a 6, purely because I haven't poured it down the sink because it's disgusting, and it's not. It's quite nice, and I don't think it was that expensive as well. I think this might have been picked up in like Aldi's or something like that. I don't think it's anything too fancy. So, good work from the Hop Foundry. Now I'm not doing another beer tonight because again I'm on the weight loss hype at the moment, and man's got to stop being fat.
But don't worry, peoples. I'll be coming at you with another beautiful drop a little bit later on.
We said a lot about NUFC fan Liam's half pint, but what about that abomination Osborne was drinking?
Oh yeah, God, no good, is it? We'll cross that later. But meanwhile, let's run through the grid for one more time before we get lights out. So on pole we have Grant. Lining up alongside him on the first row of the grid, Joseph Rados. Second row sees Butler and Mogi, the two Williams drivers, sitting side by side. Row number 3, James Punt, is joined by NUFC fan Half Pint Liam. Row number 4, one of the Ferraris pressing.
His name's already long enough. We didn't need to. Didn't need to overcomplicate
the other Red Bull of Trem, and rounding out the top 10 we see B Wheeler and the other Mercedes of Lanark. There are your top 10 drivers as we eagerly await them lining up on the grid, ready for those lights. Are you ready, Tom?
You know what? You can do the lights this evening. You do it. No pressure. Just flow with it, man. It's all yours.
And there's 5 lights, and they are out, and we are racing here in Austin.
Right, so we're heading up to the first turn again. This is a bit of a twat of a corner because it goes really slow, and if you miss,
it really does.
If you outbrake yourself, there can be a little bit of carnage. But at the back, it all looks pretty tidy. You can actually move away from Granty Boy there to see if there was any accidents. And then these S's as well. Oh, they can be horrible if you've not got the right line.
It can be. You're almost best taking it wide. A little bit of cams. Always contact.
Something's happened. Patterson. I think that's Patterson at the back there.
Oh, and we've got big
he's well off
everywhere.
The pace, so a lot of spinach. I
think we've got the Hound. Wheeler is out there. The AlphaTauri of Wheeler and the Hound were all involved with that as well. I didn't quite catch what happened. It was through the S's. I think someone just carried a bit too much pace.
Yeah. It's like we said, because if you're offline on those, they're difficult enough to get when you're online and when you're trying to hook it up. with no one else around you. But when you've got the whole starting grid going with you as well, they're an absolute bitch of a turn. Those
just trying to see if I look off the back of Wheeler's card just to see if there's any damage to the Hound. There's not any damage to B Wheeler. As you can see on the screen there, the strategy prediction is around lap 7 to 13, soft to medium, or medium to soft to hard. But these are all individual strategies, so whatever the drivers have picked, and I can confirm that the Hound does have a front left end plate missing, so he might need to dive into the pit lane.
So yeah, not a good start. He was struggling qualifying already. But we should say, actually, it looks like Albert's got a little bit of damage as well. I've just hovered over him because, yeah, he's diving into the pits. He's taken front wing damage, but he had a good start. He was 4 or 5 places up. So that's a shame. And you can see there's tons of drivers going in. No, 4. Say ton. 4 drivers going into the pits that are having to get themselves sorted. So, diving into the first turn, you've got Patterson trying to make a move up the inside of Chatty Duck and gets that done. To bring himself 7 places up, so that's the real winner. No, Lawson, sorry. Lawson's 10 places up. Oh wait, now the grid's reshuffling. God damn it, Codemasters.
They need to sort that thing out.
It's so frustrating.
But either way, we will race on, and the grid after this lap should reset itself. We see drivers that dove into the pit lane there were Lando Cam, Albert, ZGS and Butters. I suspect they all had some amount of damage.
As you see it on your screen at the moment, although it says Granty Boy 4th, Granty Boy is in the lead, which means you've got Joseph Morales behind him, then the 2 Williams very close together as well. So we will keep an eye on the front runners for the moment then. It's annoying because the interval screen isn't working very well at the moment either, keeps flickering in and out. There we go. So as you can see, the field all the way down to 8th place is pretty compact at the moment. We've then got a bit of a gap forming between Preston Mixer and Osborne. So that's going to be from 9th down, so time to make up for those guys. Patterson has had a cracking start anyways, he's 7 places up. Lawson is doing well as well, 7 places up. Osborne's actually 3 places up off the start. Trem's had a cracking start as well. He had a good couple of starts in the last week, hasn't he?
Trem does tend to do that. His off the line is absolutely phenomenal.
He looks like he's dropping a bit of a gap now. He's about 2 seconds off the pace of Butler at the moment, so he needs to start closing down that gap if he's going to be thinking about a podium in this race. But that battle between the top 4 could be quite interesting if a gap does start to form, because we've got 4 very quick drivers there, and at the moment, as it stands, Mogi's getting that subway.
I don't know if Darren's watching this week.
Surely.
I'd like to hope he was, but even if he's not, video evidence is here, and I'm sure Mogi will make him aware of it.
Absolutely, 100%.
I look forward to seeing if that does come of anything. Obviously, the bet was just a podium, so that'll be a winner. As we see, Woolsey picked up a 3-second time penalty there.
You've now got Trem under a bit of pressure as well. He's got James Punt all over the back of him, and DRS has started on this lap as well. We're down that long straight. James Punt sizing up a move then around the outside, but I think he's going to squeeze through there. Yep, that looks like he's got that done. Trem's fighting back though with a move on the outside of his own, but has to go off the track, and James Punt's going to have a bit of a better exit there. Trem has the inside line going into that corner. Oh, this is scrappy between the 2, but very tidy. Liam getting involved as well. James Punt looks to have got ahead now quite clearly. Trem's just picked up a penalty as well, maybe pushing a bit too hard there and going outside the track limits. But Liam's having a right good go. Let's ride on board with him and see if he can get anything done into the first turn heading down the pit straights. He's going to have DRS, but so is Trem. Is there going to be room to make a move?
Pressing Mix has caught up with the back of this pack here as well.
He's not far off at all, no.
Lap. So I'll be interested to see exactly who can be the beneficiary of this. And
safety car, Lawson's out.
I think he's done exactly what we spoke about.
Yep, he's come off the final turn a bit too hard on the power, I think, a bit too early. We'll ride on board with Leonard Cam because he's just about to come round to the Mercedes, and you can see him. Yep. Oh, pit entry. No, it's pit entry is where he's done it. Oh, that's a shocker. So not a great qualifying for D Lawson, and unfortunately he's only made it 4 laps in the race. So we will see the safety car here, and this could spark quite a few pit stops from the front runners. Obviously the guys at the back have already made the majority of the have already made their pit stops, but Albert is going to head back in anyways to get a change of tyres, get some fresh tyres on and make use of the fact that he's not going to lose too much time whilst doing so. But as you can see, most of the grid are yet to pit. You can expect them to come in this lap, I should think. It's only a short race this on the 25%, 14 laps, but it is, obviously, as we know, just over a minute and a half for the lap when you're doing it at full tilt, and obviously a lot slower in the race.
Quite excited to see if Albert will actually capitalise very much off of this. Obviously, with loads of drivers now having to catch up with the safety car queue and keep within the delta, whether Albert can actually potentially make a lot of places back from 18th there. Whilst other drivers pit.
Obviously, his tyres are only going to be a couple of laps fresher than the guys immediately ahead of him, and if everyone else comes into pit now, then there's not going to be that much of an advantage that he gains on everyone else on the field.
No, but I'm just feeling
you can see where Albert is on the track as well.
He'll have made the stop. He might gain a few positions depending on whether people stack or not. You've got.
Let's have a look at it. He's still got the whole of Sector 3 to do, and obviously the majority of that field are now in the pits. So we'll keep an eye on it now as they start making their way through. There is quite a lot of movement going on in the pits as well, probably, as you say, from people double stacking and not quite communicating that they're going in. But it looks like for the most part we are roughly where we started, although actually Trem looks to have lost the place to Butler. NUFC finally impressive mixer Woolsey finds himself into 10th in the points.
Joseph Rados has yet to pit.
That's why he's in the lead. I've been riding on board with him as we head round on this safety car journey. Granty Boy and Mogi have pit, and Chatty Duck, who hasn't pit at all yet, now finds himself in 4th. But obviously he's going to have to make up a fair bit of time with his pace on the track and then get into the pits at some point. A couple of time penalties already, as you can see. We've got drivers in 7th to 11th, all rocking the 3 seconds, I believe. Let's have a little look. 3 seconds except for Wheeler, who's on 6, and the Hound at the bottom of the order there, also on a 6 seconds track limits penalty at the moment, to be added on at the end of the race. So, having a look at what tyres people have gone for, the majority of the field is on the mediums now, other than Butters and the Hound.
Trem nearly rear ends Butler there on the under the safety car. He just done well to avoid that, to be fair.
Right, so need to be careful, gents. Need to be careful.
Play nicely.
All had a drink.
Apart from NUFC Valium.
Get a straw in his half pint.
He might have done. I wonder if he got a toy with it.
I reckon they gave him that and then said the crayons are just over there.
Yeah.
And, if that gets you a little bit too hyper, there's a soft play area too.
Oh dear. We should stop, really.
Richard Glancy says, Buttbot on the move. Who is that? Who is Buttbot? Could it be Butters?
I'm going to need some more. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. We're going to need a bit more clarification on that.
Come on, Rich. Let us know, man. Let us know. Who is Buttbot?
Let us know in the chat.
And we can get involved.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to get involved.
Yeah. Just want to know who Buttbot is, really.
I'm intrigued.
But,
another thing I'm intrigued about is the fact that Joseph Rados hasn't pit yet. I feel that could be a huge mistake on his half there.
I feel like he should have made his pit stop when Granty Boy did, and would have. He's now going to have to make his pit stop. When the race gets going again, and he's going to drop down to potentially 10th if he makes it early. So. Probably safety car, everyone's bunched up, so it'll be even lower than that. Ooh, 5-second penalty for the Hound. And unfortunately, I think that's a 5-second penalty for Albert as well. Severe collision under the safety car, and Albert's got front wing damage. Butler's left the session. What's gone on there?
He has indeed.
Oh dear. It's all
Could be that internet again. Could be that 5-second
penalty
again.
For pressing mixer as well, ignoring the yellow flags.
Ooh. It's all kicking off. It's all kicking off here in Austin.
Madness, I tell you.
And I can confirm Butler has just had a power cut.
Oh.
You hate to see it, don't you? You hate to see it.
Got him.
That is not good, but he currently runs P12 on fresh mediums. Safety car is in this lap though.
Well, hey, we can get back to racing.
So now we face an interesting uphill challenge for Joseph Morados of trying to pull out a huge... And there's another penalty for the Hound and severe collision with Albert.
It's all going to part of the back there, isn't it? I think this might be...
Albert now
might
has
be
more
turning to
damage.
fisticuffs in a moment, if it were real life.
I really don't know what's happening at the back there.
Not good.
Albert's had, unfortunately, a little bit of a shocker here. He's going to be looking more to the race at Baku, which could be very interesting if we see him up the front.
If we see him on pole, it could be very interesting indeed, because he's more than capable of pulling out a nice lead if he gets a good run. Now, safety car's coming around the final turn, so Joseph Morales is going to get us underway here. We're going to keep on board with... we're going to watch Mogi's camera on the cinematic view to try and get any view of the movement in the top six. Oh, and I'll tell you what, Mogi's had a cracking restart there. Got himself into second place. Apologies for the language.
He's had an absolute
and
he goes all the way around the
first.
outside. Mogi takes the lead.
Move. Oh, mate. I mean, screw the podium. Just give him a steak and cheese for that.
Mate, phenomenal. And he's now got Grant right behind him.
Oh, there's all sorts of madness going on behind though in the S's. I've just seen people cutting corners. No one's really spun off the track. Maybe a little bit of damage done there.
That now there's a Mercedes. It's James Punt.
James Punt and Preston Mixer as well has had a bit of an incident. So nightmare there for you can see him in the background, James Punt, just trying to get himself off the gravel. But we're going to head back up to the front then and try and keep up with what's going on. Now, Granty Boy is still in second here, but importantly, Mogi has already pit. So if he can keep Grant behind him, we could see a different winner here for the first time in about 10 or 15 races, or however long it's been.
And we could,
Joseph
get
Morales
this be a moment.
Joseph Morales has still got a pit, of course, but he's keeping pace. Granty Boy is going for that move on Mogi already. You can see him having a little look around the outside. We're going to ride on board with the Red Bull driver's camera now. He's just got to be patient, I feel, here. He's going to get good traction out of that corner, though. And Mogi's going to have the inside line around this fast right-hander. But it looks like Grant is going to have the advantage coming into this one, and he's going to take the lead back from Mogi, which is a shame because he really did pull off a cracking move there on the restart to earn it, and he got a brilliant jump on both Joseph Morales and Granty Boy.
On the restart, I think it'll be DRS reactivated in the next lap, so if Mogi can stay within that second gap, you'd like to hope that maybe he could stand a chance of keeping with him, but it's going to be a bit of a big ask.
As I say, big ask when you've got Granty Boy to try and keep with, and we've already said once he gets out in front, he can be a bit dominant. But we'll see how that goes. Now, Butler is back. He's put 50p back in the meter, and it looks like he is back in the race. So, well done to the Williams driver for getting in to finish off the race.
As well.
Yeah, it's not too bad
lost those 2 positions. But look at Trem, meanwhile. He's obviously following the incident there that James Punt had, which, I didn't quite see exactly what happened there on the restart with the Mercedes boys. But Trem up into P4, 2 seconds off of Morados, who still needs to pit. So, potential podium position for Trem there.
And I'm also looking at Patterson, who has stopped already, now finds himself on the soft tyre, and is up into 6th. And obviously one of the drivers that had a qualifying ban this evening, so he really has had a cracking drive so far. So obviously Trem could find himself in a podium position once we see Joseph Morados pit, but obviously that time penalty will then come into play, because him and NUFC fan Liam are both rocking quite hefty time penalties. I say that as Patterson picks up one of his own, only a 3-second though. But if Patterson can keep the gap close, he could even find himself on the podium here. Once we look at all the penalties adjusted. So he's just got to keep it together, and this could be very much a driver of the day worthy drive from Patterson if he can keep it all together. So Trem does take that podium position. Well, not necessarily a move. Joseph Morados has gone in for that pit stop, and as we predicted, he has dropped down the order quite a lot. So unfortunate there to lose out so much, Joseph, because he had a cracking early phase of the race. Mogi picks up a 3-second time penalty as well, which is pretty much all but damaged his chances of getting himself into first place, because he's now got to pull out a 3-second gap as well. But you look at that battle between Trem and NUFC fan Liam, and Patterson for that matter as well, and obviously Patterson knows if he can just keep it on the track and within the track limits, he's going to jump up into a podium position. So maybe he could just watch this and just keep picking up the DRS for NUFC fan Liam to keep up with these guys. But he's going to have a bit of an attack on his hands from Wheeler as well, by the looks of things. NUFC fan Liam with the DRS down this long straight then is he going to get enough of it to get alongside Trem? He's going to be late on the brakes here and try and make a move around the outside.
Trem's covered the inside line.
Wheel to wheel stuff there, but now NFC fan Liam takes the inside, a little bit of contact there, I think, wheel to wheel action. But nothing major. The two drivers still very close indeed.
Look at
Patterson, oh, that's contact. And you can see there on the rear camera of NUFC fan Liam that we saw a bit of yellow wing go flying. So that may have just caused a bit of a problem for Patterson, because he's gone from being assured a podium position to now potentially having to get into the pits and change his front wing for the remainder of this race. So a bit of a disaster, but it looks like he's going to carry on going even with the wing damage. He's still, if he can keep the pace though, he's still going to get a podium at this rate, but he just needs to keep up the pace for 4 more laps. So
yeah, but look behind him, he's got a hunting pack of Alpha Tauris behind him. He's looking to try and pounce on that piece of damage.
I was going to say, ZGS is going to be a massive benefiter in all of this as well if he can keep the pace, because if he can get within 3 seconds of Patterson, then he's going to be on the podium. We're going to have to just maybe leave it to the end other than trying to work out all this maths, because I'm really struggling with it. Wheeler lets ZGS through, it seems, because he knows that his teammate has got no penalties at the moment and is in a much better position to try and get the podium position for his team. ZGS has made 2 stops in this race so far, one of the only drivers that has, and he finds himself in 6th. So
and
good
currently
work.
He is, if I've worked this out correctly, currently he is net 3rd.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I think we're going to keep the penalty detail on screen then, because they're adding to them thick and fast around here as well, so it could all change in these remaining 4 laps. But NUFC fan Liam's still not going away from Trem, and the same for Patterson as well. He has, as I said, got a little bit of front wing damage. Maybe we can get a look at it from NUFC fan Liam's camera. I think you can see it's his left end plate that seems to be missing there. So that will be hampering him, but obviously not too much it seems, because he is keeping within a second of Liam, crucially, to get the DRS assistance down these long straights.
Yeah, it's a bit tough for Liam, for Ethan, sorry, just to keep up with the guys in front. But looking at Liam and
NUFC fan Liam, trying to make the move again on Trem around the outside of turn 1, and he's going to get the better exit out of turn 1 and looks to have secured that position heading in to the S's. Trem's not going away though, he just has to back out of that one there because he maybe took the wrong line, but it looks like Patterson, that's now opened the door for him maybe, but potentially learned his lesson from last time and he's just going to sit back and see if he can jump him in the timing screen at the end, or maybe wait for Trem to make a mistake. And he looked a little bit squirrely out of that corner. He's now got a good run on him, he's going to get the inside line down here, and he's going to get the move done. So that's a brilliant bit of work there from Patterson. Now, crucially, he's going to have to try and open up a 3-second gap over himself and ZGS, and if he does that, he will then leapfrog NUFC fan Liam into 3rd. So, still so much to sort out here in the final few laps. But I'll tell you what, Trem is struggling now because he's got ZGS right on his heels. He's been having to defend pretty much all of this lap, and he's still having to defend because he's got the Alpha Tauri right on his heels there. So sorry, Aaron, to cut in like that, but it's an entertaining lap. It's all happening.
I was just about to say, I think looking at the math, ZGS could potentially still be in that podium position.
I think he will be, because he just needs to be within 3 seconds of Patterson. And from the maths at the moment, I think he is by a couple of hundredths, although he's had a poor exit there. Yep, that's what we said. It can be easily done in that corner. So he just needs to keep it together here for ZGS, and he'll earn a brilliant podium. It should be said, Mogi's pulled a nice little gap between himself and NUFC fan Liam, so he looks to have wrapped up that podium position if he can keep it on the track with no more errors. I think we'll stick on board with ZGS then, because he is the closest driver in this chasing pack to looking like he's going to get a move done, and we've obviously seen ZGS make a little mistake, and Trem's been a little bit wobbly on a couple of these corners as well, so entertaining stuff.
Yeah, I mean, these boys have been putting the car through those tyres, although they were fresh not that long ago. They've been putting them through their paces in the past few laps, so don't expect them to last forever. But looking back, what did we say earlier on? Joseph Rados now running P11 from P2. Had he have maybe pitted at the right point in the race, we could have potentially seen him up there on the podium as well, but it seems, he might have done himself out of a podium there.
Well, it's opened the door for this battle, so I'm quite happy in that regard, because it's led to quite an entertaining finish here. We've got 2 laps to go around Circuit of the Americas, and this battle for what is 5th and 6th on the track, but essentially this could end up being the battle for the podium position for 3rd. ZGS being very careful to keep it within the lines, it seems. He's doing a good job so far. Oh, Wheeler's gone through. Okay.
Maybe they're after a little bit of a tow?
Possibly. But,
although
I mean...
ZGS hasn't got the DRS there either, so you'd
no,
think
because he let him through too late. So Wheeler had the DRS. So currently, just again, looking at the maths on the screen, I think that knocks ZGS out of potentially leapfrogging 3rd. I mean, it's easy for us to say because we're not racing. You know, we've got all of the information on the screen, and obviously we know that ZGS can't see that NUFC fan Liam has 11 seconds. He probably can't see that Patterson has 3 seconds now, by the way. So it's easy for us to say. On the track it's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, I think he can only see the 2 drivers ahead of him, so he'll know that Trem and Wheeler, although to be fair, he was ahead of Wheeler, so he might well know that Ethan has 3 seconds, but he won't know about the other guys ahead. NUFC fan Liam on 11 seconds, which is quite a healthy amount of penalties.
Further back then, we've got a bit of a battle going on between 10th, 11th and 9th. We've got Butler, Butters and Joseph Morados all going at it for the final points position. And again, loads of penalties to decipher there as well. So that's not going to be a done deal once the race is said and done. Joseph Morados looking to eke his way back into the points here. And he's got his teammate behind him as well, Wolsey, or he's actually 17 seconds behind. So, but it's looking close. You can see Joseph Morados trying to get a look around the outside of the Renault, but not quite having the room on the straight there to get it done. Butler on those hard tyres just maybe going a little bit slower than the soft-tyred Alfa Romeo behind him. I think he's on the softs anyways, I haven't clearly seen yet. Right, back at the front then, so more time penalties to talk about. B Wheeler's now on 12 seconds, Trem's on 12 seconds. Patterson, crucially, still only on 3. So he's doing a good job to keep it all together, and at the moment has secured himself a podium position on the final lap of the race. Yellow flags in sector 2, that's nothing major. So, 3-second time penalty for Patterson. Now,
so this
I think that could be
for ZGS.
I think it could be podium for ZGS if he keeps it together. We will ride on board then with ZGS. It should be said another penalty there. That Albert currently rocking 18 seconds, not good at all on this race for the Racing Point driver.
He's had a bit of a shocker there, but look, Trem on Ethan up ahead. It looks like Trem was having a little gander on the exit of that turn, trying to get the power down. He's right behind Ethan now with the DRS on the final lap of the race. Is he going to make a move? He's going to the outside. Ethan later on the brakes, but remember he's got that wing damage, so the downforce could be affected.
Ooh, that was close there. Trem just had to slam on the brakes and make sure that he didn't lose any front wing of himself. So it should be said though, Granty Boy is about to cross the line and take the race win. Mogi's just making his way around the final 2 corners as well.
Come on,
crucially,
Meatball Marinara.
Meatball Marinara will ride on board with ZGS then to see if he suddenly leapfrogs up the order. You can see Wheeler ahead of him trying to make a move on the final turn here on Trem. It's going to be tight, but Trem is going to keep hold of 5th. ZGS is going to squirrel across the line, and he takes that podium position.
There is the podium.
Wow, so penalties playing a massive factor in this race, but a brilliant drive from ZGS, I think, has got to be said.
Oh, 100%. What a drive that was. You know, we're not taking anything away from Ethan Patterson there with a great drive, but if you look at the positions gained screen now, it's very close, but ZGS with
close.
the two stop as well, going up 11 places and taking the podium. The fact that he didn't pick up any track limits warnings is phenomenal as well, so it just shows how clean of a drive that was. But he's an American driver, so
home circuit, home win.
You'd like to think home win.
Not home win,
semi-home win. Semi-home win.
It's a win in our eyes. I was going to say, it won't show me, I don't think there's Leonard Cam who didn't have any penalties. Chatty Duck as well didn't have any penalties, but I think that's probably one of only 3 drivers that didn't have any penalties around this track. So really, really good stuff there at the end Trem unfortunately dropped down the order quite a bit. Sorry, due to his penalties, and then UFC fan Liam lost a fair bit as well because he had quite a high amount of penalties. But it was a cracking race in the end.
Oh, yeah. To be fair, for a race round here, absolutely phenomenally good.
So, driver of the day then, I think it's definitely between two, ZGS and Patterson. Personally, because he's on the podium, I'm going to give it to ZGS. Aaron?
I couldn't agree more. I think ZGS well and truly deserves it. Great podium. It's his first podium of the season. It's his home circuit. Fantastic drive. Didn't pick up any limits. I can't see it going any other way.
And we should also give a shout out to Mogi's local Subway.
Oh, 100%.
Finally.
Get yourselves ready. Strap yourselves in for next week. Next week we will find out what that man had.
Absolutely.
But anyway, here are your results. The top 10 then. In first place we have Grant. Second, Mogi earning himself that Subway we've been waiting for bloody weeks. ZGS takes the final spot on the podium, the American with his first podium of the season from P14 to P3. Fantastic drive, earning driver of the day. NUFC fan Liam in fourth place, with Ethan following up just behind him fifth. Sixth, the Haas of Osborne. Seventh from P2, unfortunate pit stop timing there from the Alfa Romeo of Joseph Rados. Eighth sees Butler following his power cut. In the end, Trem reaches P9. And Wheeler rounds out the top 10, the second of the AlphaTauris, to grab that last point spot. And now it's on to Azerbaijan. That was quite a smooth little round out the top 10 there, I think, Tom.
Yeah, give yourself a pat on the back for that one, Aaron. Well done, buddy. Well done.
Boom.
Right, we're going to take a little break, aren't we?
I think we're going to take 5, and then we'll be back with all the action from Baku. So stay tuned, and we will be back very shortly.
You could have said we'll be back with Baku, but never mind.
Oh, that would have been too good. I'm not that.
I'm too good to not be on like television or something. I'm just going to put that.
You
out
really
there.
are. I'll give you that, buddy. Fair fucking.
If I could just speak properly and get my words.
Language.
What did you just say?
Just said fair fucking cop, but yeah, that's where it came from. Just slipped out. Just slipped out there. The Northern Monk is not being very monk-like. Over
More
here.
northern than monk.
More northern than I am monk. Once again, television quips, Tom Blum. Television's bloody quips.
I'm coming for you, Sky. Anyways, we'll take 5 because I need a wee. Bye.
Bye-bye now. And we are back.
So back.
So back it hurts. And before we start the formation lap, shall I just run you through this second beer of mine?
Go for it, man.
It's just been cracked. I've just been giving it a little taste during the break, and it's an interesting one. It's a
interesting can from what you showed me in the picture.
Yeah, it's made by Siren Craft Brewing Company. It's called Pompomacello.
What?
It's a Pompomacello.
Pum pum.
Pum pum. I'm not saying it hasn't got pum pum things going on. It's a juicy grapefruit sour IPA, and they describe it as a zingy sour IPA hopped with Equinaut, Bravo and Mosaic to create the biggest grapefruity hop profile we could muster. We've also included grapefruit zest and juice for good measure.
And
now,
this sounds like it's going to be one of them ones that's more like an alcopop than a beer.
It's a 6%er.
Ooh, okay.
So we're popping some volume here. But I'm not going to lie, I think it would work better in a cider, if I'm completely honest with you. It's very, very, very sour.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I think on a nice sunny afternoon, not when it's blowing a gale outside, it would probably be a very, very good beer to have. But I'm just not a massive fan of the amount of sourness it has for a beer.
I've had that with the sour ones I've had. They're not beers. They don't taste like beer. All you can taste is juice.
Yeah, although this is the 6%er. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it progresses throughout the race. But I would give this one a 5. It's nowhere near the level of Man Goes On With Faith.
Are you going to finish it? You think you're going to?
Oh, 100%. We're going to see it.
Yeah.
We're going to see it through. And I do just want to tickle people's taste buds with a little bit of a teaser that I too today, Tom, went to the shop and picked myself up a can. I didn't purchase it yet, but I picked it up to see the size of the can of the Faxer that will be joining us, I think, on the final week of the season.
Final week of the season. For those of you that don't know, the Faxer is that horrible looking thing you can find on the bottom shelf of B&M's. It's like a litre can or something like that, and it's like
a
10%.
litre can of 10%, which I then worked out would be the equivalent of 5 pints of San Miguel in one can.
It's just not going to be nice, is it?
I'm up for the challenge.
I'm definitely up for it. I mean, go big or go home and all that jazz, but it's just not going to be enjoyable. But it's £5. It's B&M's,
Mate, £5 for 10%. That's like 50p per percent.
Where else can you buy paint stripper in a can? Everywhere, probably.
Boom. We could run these Formula 1 cars on it.
Probably, yeah.
So that rounds out my beer chat for the evening with the Pompomacello by Siren. Maybe should have been a cider as opposed to a beer. Nat also agreed because she gave it a quick go. She's currently rocking some.
Okay. Interesting formation lap from the Hound. We've got to interject there. Just felt like parking it up and testing out reverse, I think.
Yeah, interesting one. Interesting theory, but yeah, as we see now though, look at where Albert is. He too running into the second race here.
But you've got James Punt as well, who was very quick in the qualifying for the last race, and
we seem to be a driver down as well. We seem to be Chatty Duck doesn't seem to be with us. So
I think unfortunately his Wi-Fi dropped out. So technical issues there for Chatty.
Oh, that's unfortunate to see. That is unfortunate to see. We've got 2 Mercedes up there in the top 5 runnings at the moment as it stands.
Runnings?
In the runnings. So
Granted Boy isn't all the way at the back. He's 17th because D. Lawson DNF'd. So he's not got quite a last to first to do if he wants to keep the streak alive. But Baku, he's going to have a lot of overtaking opportunity down that very long straight, longest straight on the circuit. Got the long DRS zone there as well. It's just, I think it's all gonna happen for him probably in that straight and the first sector on those 90-degree sort of right-handers, because the rest of the track from there on in is pretty tight, especially that castle section. Yeah. There's no way any action's going to be happening around there without.
And that's a place to watch. That is a place to watch. A lot of people could come unstuck there through Castle, so obviously we hope not. But of course, as we say every week, if you're going to come off there, please do make it spectacular.
Yep. Add to the ruins, you know. Really stamp your mark on Baku.
Indeed. So pit strategies there, mediums to soft or hards to soft, as I was just running with pressing mixer there. Tyre choices for the front runners for this evening. We see the Hound running softs. Albert, however, starting the reverse strat on the mediums. Along with a lot of drivers, to be fair. If you look at the tyre choices there, Tom, we've got quite a few drivers starting the medium tyre.
Yeah, we've obviously got free choice for this race, and it looks like just a little bit over half the field are on the mediums there. So we'll keep an eye out on those drivers on the soft tyres to see if they improve. Interestingly as well, James Punt has gone for the soft, whereas Albert's on the mediums. So split strategies for those guys. But we've got to get ready for a race, Aaron. There's not much more time to talk about tyres. We have got lights on the board, 5 of them in fact, and they're about to go out. And they're gone. Jump start penalty for Butters straight away though. So he's struggling.
Oh, there's a
Ferrari. It was Pressing Mixer and someone else. I think it may have been Woolsey.
No,
Woolsey.
Yes, I think it was Woolsey.
Safety car first, didn't even make it to the first corner. So Patterson getting a penalty for a severe collision under the safety car. We're waiting for the order to reset, I believe. It's all over the place at the moment. No drivers are out the race, but obviously we saw that collision straight off the start line there.
Yeah, I'm just trying to have a little look, see what happened here. As they enter.
Fireworks in Baku.
It is indeed. I'm just trying to skip back down through the stream here as they reformed the grid and got racing.
Have a little look for us, replay expert.
I will do. So I've currently got 5 lights coming on. The lights go out. Let's play this. I tell you what we can do. We can get a really, really good idea on this if we hit the settings button here and hit the playback speed to half. Let's have a little look at it at half speed. We see the jump start from.
We should say this is a virtual safety car, so we're going racing any moment now. In fact, we are back racing now. So Hound is still in the lead. He made it through the first corner safely. He's got Albert for company straight away though. That's not Sky material right there, is it? I've got to get that right. Albert's now within 2/10 heading into the final couple of turns before this long straight, and he now takes the lead before the end of the first lap. And it looks like James Punt is going to have a look as well as he makes his way down this final straight. He's going to get a nice slipstream there off of the Hound. Not quite in the realm of DRS just yet, because we're only a lap in. A little bit of contact there from the Hound and James Punt, it seems, but nevertheless it's no damage done to the Mercedes driver as he makes his way past the Haas driver very nicely indeed. Hound running a little bit wide there, looks to be struggling on this track as we saw with the formation lap. Go on, you put in an and. Wolsey's retired.
I was just going to say Wolsey's retired, but unfortunately I'm just watching this replay back. It looks like Pressing Mixer had a slight bit of contact from Lanocam off the start line, which caused his car to lose control and therefore impacting into the side of poor old Wolsey there, who we see has DNF'd towards the end of Sector 3 through the fast
section.
Should be said.
So, a couple of drivers jumped into the pits as well, so a couple of drivers that we saw have penalties who have jumped into the pits. And again, the order is all over the place, so apologies, I can't quite keep up to date with where everyone is at the moment, but I'm assuming that we've got Albert in the lead at the moment. Virtual safety car out on track, and it's not quite clear as to why. I think Osborne's had maybe something go on as you look at his position on track. Everyone else at the rear is just coming out of the pits. But yeah, didn't quite see what incident that was. 5-second penalty for Lawson for exceeding track limits, so he must have done quite a corner cut and a half there to get that penalty. That's not just taking a couple of wheels off the track. Oh, we're back up to racing speed, by the way. DRS is now enabled, and we've got SRL Albert leading. Yep, there we go. Pressing Mixer makes his way to the back.
Pair of Mercedes chasing down the Racing Point driver.
So we've got James Punt, who is only 6/10 behind the Racing Point. Is that right?
Yeah, it
I
does.
think the timing
It
screen's
does.
gone a bit funky there because Landcam is right behind James Punt. It's telling me he's 2 seconds away. So I think I'm going to try resetting that. There we go. That's better. James Punt is actually 1.5 seconds away, so he's not as close as we thought. He's actually got more of a challenge coming from his teammate at the moment. So got to be careful of a bit of Mercedes on Mercedes action here.
He has, but I think, to a degree,
riding on board with Landcam. Yeah, it doesn't look like that's what's happening at the moment because Landcam's going to make a move here, going into turn 3. I was about to say 4. Oh, James Punt has to slam on the brakes there to make sure he can make it round without getting it in the wall. But Landcam's having a flyer. I don't know if Albert's had a bit of an issue there because he slowed right down, and all of a sudden, Landcam's charging for the lead. Has Albert got some damage potentially? Maybe hit a wall. We saw a bit of contact there between the two. If Landcam does get past, we'll maybe look at his rear camera to see if there is any damage to that racing point. But it looks like he's really struggling around the corners. Don't try and make that move, Landcam, going into the castle section. Oh, contact there again.
Contact.
Oh, now that was a little nudge from Landcam, which maybe propelled Albert into the wall. What is going on? There's contact all over the place.
And there's more wing going. Is that Landcam's end plate? James Punt going to buy into that as well. James is, but Landcam fires around the outside, goes for the double move.
This is crazy. Landcam. Oh, that's a massive collision with the wall there for Landcam. So James Punt is also going to get round Albert, it should be said. Let's have a look then. Albert does have damage. Landcam has damage. We know because we saw his front wing go flying. James Punt, I imagine, is probably one of the only drivers that doesn't have any damage at the moment.
He has front left end plate damage as well.
I'm watching from the rear of Landcam's camera. And I think you're right. Yeah, I think that is missing. Difficult to see because it all sort of blends in with the tyres. But yes, you can see it is. Landcam heads into the pits then because he's basically got no front wing left. And all of a sudden, James Punt is your driver in the lead. And it looks like Trem is now going to be in second place.
And Trem has just gone off the circuit. Trem has just ran it straight off at turn 1. So got a bit excited there. And outbroke himself.
Oh, migrating host. Something's going to go wrong with the connection possibly. No, I think we're okay. It says Albert has left the session. Albert's had a shocker this evening, isn't he? Promising position to start off with, but it's not gone well. ZGS somehow finds himself into 4th. So he would have been starting. Yeah. Cracking work.
Absolutely.
We'll have a look at the position change stats. So 11 places gained for Mogi and ZGS. Hound struggles out that corner. Leaves a bit of a gap open for Joseph Morados here. It's going to be a tight one to make around there, Joseph, but no, he's going to hang back and probably get the move done once they come out of the castle section. We'll ride on board with ZGS. He's got a good view of that battle going ahead, and he's trying to maybe get ahead of Joseph Morados himself here. Joseph on the medium tyres, ZGS on the quicker softs at the moment. Let's get on board with Joseph then.
These guys on the soft really need to make the most of this quick stint in comparison to the medium runners. But the Hound is on the soft tyre, but Joseph Morados is sticking with him quite quickly. We might see a move made here.
So the Hound was struggling early on with the attack of Albert and Landcam, but because of their demise and a bit of Trems as well, he's now found himself in second place. So a bit of luck there for the Hash driver. He just needs to keep it going. Joseph Morados has the DRS heading down the main pit straight and will easily take the Hash driver there. Hound heads into the pits. Must have had some damage, or it's a scheduled pit stop possibly. We are 5 laps into this race now. D. Lawson retirement. So DNF from Lawson.
Sector 2 it looks like.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll try and ride on board with Osborne, but he's way too far back at the moment. It's the battle between ZGS and Joseph Morados that looks the closest at the moment at the top end. That's the battle for 3rd and 2nd, but we could be looking at double podiums here for ZGS if he can keep this pace up. It should be said Granty Boy, the name we've been looking out for at the back, finds himself in 8th at the moment, so still a fair bit of work to do, and he's got about probably, let's have a look at the gap to the leader. He's got 22 seconds to make up on the leader if he wants to keep the streak alive.
Yep, and he also does need...
And I should say as well, sorry, Joseph Morados has closed up the gap between himself and James Punt, so we could be seeing a move for the lead very soon, but we are getting into pit window territory, so we could see the order shake up massively because of that as well.
Definitely, but we do see as well, if you just look at the pit stops there, Grant has already pitted, so these boys at the front are going to need to make the pit stop fairly soon in order to guarantee the chance they might well be able to get out of pit lane before Grant reaches it.
I don't think they're going to, looking at the intervals at the moment, but you've got Leonard Cam, who is ahead of Grant at the moment, but it looks like that's going to be the next driver that Grant is sort of sizing up as we ride on board with him. But anyway, let's head back to the front, because Joseph Morados is going to have DRS on James Punt down the main straight. Granty Boy does get ahead of Leonard Cam, so is the net leader when it comes to pit stops. Joseph Morados having to ease off a little bit there to make sure he doesn't head into the back of the Mercedes. He's got the DRS activated. There we go, we can see it now on the screen. James Punt's going to head into the pits anyways, but Joseph Morados... Oh, what's happened there then? Has he hit the entry?
He's gone straight into the pit lane, missed the little chicane on the entry, and just absolutely tanked that Mercedes into the wall.
Annoyingly, the car already cleared away. I was running on board with Trent to see if we can see, but the car was already out the way. ZGS is on the charge though. So again, another driver who is yet to stop, but he is trying his best to possibly take the lead off of Joseph Morados. But now we look at the timing screen and we can see that Granty Boy is ahead with already made a pit stop. Really, these guys in front need a safety car if they're going to get out ahead of the Red Bull driver.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they obviously can't see exactly the timing screens that we can see. Unless, of course, they were watching
the Hound retires in Sector 3. Could this be a safety car coming up?
Just trying to find the...
that is going to be a retirement in the pits, I believe, the Hound. So no safety car happening there. Okay, so 4 retirements so far in this race already. We've seen 4 victims to Baku. A tough circuit because you don't want to go too high on the downforce because you've got this long straight that we're watching Mogi head down in a couple of seconds, but you have got that very tight section in Sector 2 to navigate as well, and it's trying to find a balance there, but you know, it can catch a lot of people out, and it's very easy to pick up wing damage. We see ZGS is heading into the pits now. Be interesting to see how far back off of Granty Boy he's going to be. It looks like he's going to be a fair way back because Granty Boy is just heading down the main pit straight now, and he's going to easily leapfrog ZGS into 4th position.
He is, and equally so might Lanocam. So we might be on for another battle between ZGS and Lanocam as we enter what will be turn 2. They're going to be side by side into the braking zone. Lanocam round the outside. And let battle commence. Lanocam has the DRS currently as it stands. And ZGS on the fresher tyre. Can he stick with that Mercedes?
Yep, I mean at the moment if Granty Boy's in the lead and ZGS has come out 2 places behind him, he could still be looking at another podium here. But it's just whether or not he can now gain enough time to overtake the drivers as such that were in front of him earlier through the undercut. Maybe not so much Joseph Morados, he's got quite a big lead ahead of him, Joseph Morados, but possibly he can try and get something on Butters if he gets around these next couple of laps quick enough. So, we are just over the halfway point in this race, and it's been an eventful one so far. Plenty of incidents. What were you all in about?
A bit of contact there between ZGS and Lanocam through Castle. Lanocam anchored on ZGS, just tapping the rear end. More of a love tap than a big bit of contact. There's definitely a battle to be had here, Tom, so probably worth
we'll ride on board with it. Absolutely, yeah. No, we'll ride on board with Lanocam and ZGS then. So, guys, both on medium tyres at the moment, but ZGS 2 laps fresher.
Yeah,
Joseph Morados has come into the pits as well, by the way, as has Mogi. So we'll see now if ZGS has done enough to get out, to get ahead, of Joseph Morados or Mogi in the pits. It looks like Mogi is just heading down the pit exit. Joseph Morados is just released from the pits. Is heading around that first corner. I think he's still going to be in the lead by a fair margin here. In terms of leading Joseph Morados, it should be ZGS. It should be not in the lead of the race, unfortunately. But it's tight. Mogi's only just come out ahead of Lanocam there, and this is going to be a good battle heading down into turn 3.
Yeah, Lanocam and that Mercedes really going for it. Lanocam
turns in a bit too early, and that's going to open the door for ZGS. Lanocam ghosting at the moment, but not anymore. Be careful. ZGS goes through him anyways. Luckily, he gets him back ghosting. But be careful, because you could unghost at any minute. Oh, this is tight.
Sensitive.
I don't like it. Make it stop.
Literally is inside of him.
No. No. And Landicam had to
ZGS
make sure he was sharp on the brakes there, because he suddenly ghosted all of a sudden. As soon as his front wing cleared the back end of that Alpha Tower, he unghosted. So good work from Landicam not to cause a collision there. Butters, we should say, is yet to pit as well. So Butters, you'll find he'll find himself unfortunately slipping down the order when he does pit. But that currently leaves us with a top three of Granty Boy, Joseph Marados and Mogi, once you take into account those pit stops. Butters is making his way around now. Expect him to come in this lap. Let's have a look. He's angling towards the pit entry.
Don't do what James Punt done.
Keep it together. Keep it together. There we go. Very nice.
You'll see as he rides his pit lane there, you see the section that I mean, is it just the ball steps out.
Yep.
James Punt, I don't think he was expecting it, and it just came out of nowhere.
Yep. I've done it before around here though. It's quite easily done. Just lose concentration for a second or two and boom, race over. ZGS has got ahead of Butters then in the pits. Looks like Wheeler might have a shot at that as well. It's going to be tight. No, Butters is going to stay ahead of Wheeler. So only drops down to 5th, Butters. Not too bad at all there when it comes to the pit stop. Further down the order, let's have a look at the position change then. So at the moment, the big winner is Granty Boy, of course, currently leading this race from 17th on the grid. Joseph Marados up 9 places, Mogi up 13th. That's a good drive so far. Running on board with ZGS still at the moment.
ZGS has had a cracking drive tonight.
The field is pretty spread out at the moment, it should be said. Apart from Patterson and Butler, so battling 9th and 8th, these guys. Only a 6/10 in it. So we'll ride on board with the Renault driver then. Patterson was very close to getting our driver of the day vote in Austin. But unfortunately, he was just bested by ZGS making the podium. But he's doing well at the moment here. 4 places up. Looks like a solid drive, and he's going to get some good points here again.
Yeah, it's looking like a good point tool. Looking like a...
When you look at where Butters is as well for the Renault guys.
Yeah, I mean, he's come out in a decent position there as well. So he's held his own, really, and he's up 2 places from his starting position. So
Butters with a move on ZGS. ZGS has slowed right down. I think he's lost connection or something. There we go. It's like he's back into life all of a sudden. That's a shame.
No, I think he lost damage. I think he'd taken some wing damage as well.
Probably, but I think his controller died. I think that's what that looked like there. That's a massive shame, because he was going along so well. And
always charge it up, boys.
Yeah, that's a throw your controller against the wall moment. So all of a sudden, Butters now finds himself in 4th. He's got a fair bit of ground to make up though if he wants to be challenging for a podium. It looks pretty safe for those front 3 at the moment if they can keep it together in these final 3 laps. Patterson now finds himself in 8th as a benefit of ZGS having his mishap with the controller. And as I said again, the field at the moment all looking pretty close. The Hound and Albert are having their own little personal battle, it seems. Albert's disconnected from the session, so he won't ride on board with the Hound. ZGS is retired. Yeah, that's a tough one to swallow because he was having such a good race. But never mind, that makes it the 5th retiree from this race. Sorry, I should have said Osborne was the guy battling with Albert, not the Hound. The Hound has retired.
Yeah, and also Pressing Mixer is
out as well.
Tied in the pit lane as well. So lap 10 of 13, and we are left with 12 drivers on the circuit. But what a drive here it is from Mogi again. Now, if Darren is watching, does this mean 2 subways?
Yeah.
Because the way I look at this is a subway per podium.
Yeah. He did say an Uber. I don't want to be exclusive to Subway here, but they're not sponsoring us.
Yeah. No, but if someone's going Uber, you probably would go Subway really... Well, to be fair, if you've earned 2, mix it up a bit. Taco Bell, Subway.
Now, we should be concentrating a little bit more here, Aaron, because the battle at the top isn't quite done yet. Joseph Marados is only just over a second and a half away from Granty Boy, and at the moment He's keeping pace. Can't necessarily say that he's gaining
Tyre
anything.
advantage.
He's got a tyre advantage, as you say there. Yeah, Granty Boy had a very early pit stop.
There's a car stuck on sector 1. It's just been cleared out of the way. Was that the Ferrari pressing mixer?
Very well may have been.
I'm not
So
too sure, but
Joseph Marados
Joseph.
is now picking up time. So he's now only 1.4, 1.3 seconds away with 2 laps to go. And Granty Boy may be struggling a little bit on those 8-lap-old mediums. Whereas Joseph is on those fresh softs.
He is 2 laps old on those softs. 1.3 seconds to good. He's looking quick, looks smooth through Castle. So let's ride on board with him for a sec and just see exactly how he can hold this together. Don't contact the wall. He might well be in DRS range.
Not quite this lap, I think. I think if he can hold it together, he might get DRS down the straight out of Turner 2. Out of Turner 2? Turn 2.
Turner 2.
Turner 2. Simply the best. Yeah, he's not going to have DRS down here, and you can see Granty Boy's actually pulling out a little bit down this straight. Must be using DRS in reserve or reserve
I
fuel
think
potentially.
That's the key, just trying to defend using your ERS, but Joseph looking a bit wide, breaking deep into turn 1.
He's lost a little bit of time there as well in those first 2 turns, but let's see if he can gain anything back down this straight. He's going to get a little bit of a toe, and you can see there he's using his ERS on his steering wheel to just light up that green bar there. We'll ride on board with them because it's definitely not over. I mean, especially around here as well, where it can be just, one little tap into the wall and, it could be race over for any of these 2 drivers, especially with them pushing so hard, Granty, to defend Joseph on the attack.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard it before from Grant. He said that Joseph could be someone to challenge him on his day. Joseph is a quick driver, so he looks quick. And
you saw Joseph, I think, catch his rear wheel on that castle section there, and that slowed him down a tiny bit, I think, because he had I heard a little knock, and then his car just suddenly shifted to one side. Again, Joseph using the RS through that section, a couple of quick left-handers. And we'll ride on board, I think, with Granty Boy down the main straight to see if he's going to be using the RS to keep Joseph at bay.
Just then
he did for a second, but it looks like he's got about a quarter of his reserves left on the old ERS there. He's not going to use it on this occasion. Joseph again keeping off of it. He's got none. Yeah, look at his bar. He's got none at all.
So it'll all be in fueling. He's going to want to try and trouble is that gap. He closes up. We're on the final lap now. He closed up to within 1.3 seconds. Grant using the ERS too. Yeah. Good reserve there.
Yeah,
hell of a battle.
But a good battle between the 2. Yeah, absolutely. It's been keeping Granty honest in this race, in all honesty, and that's what we want to see.
Further back, Trem bouncing off the walls. Ethan round the inside, outside, whichever way you want to call it. That makes the position on Trem. I couldn't quite tell though. We're going in a straight line. Trem through the fast section of sector 3.
And maybe we'll keep on board. I think we'll keep on board with these 2. And Landcam as well, as you say, yeah, because this is now the closest battle on the track heading into the final lap, and this is the battle for 9th, 8th and 7th. Landcam gets a good exit out of there and is looking maybe to get a move on Trem up the inside, and Trem's hit the wall there and suffers a little bit, but he left the door open for Landcam, and Landcam said thank you very much, that's my 8th place.
And could I just point out that Joseph Marados is very, very, very nearly in touching distance of the DRS. He's within the second margin now.
Now, I don't know where the activation point is round here.
It's right in the middle of sector 3, so providing he gets
potentially he's over a second exit,
now. He's now over. Oh,
I don't think he's going to get it.
The exit of Castle, he was so quick on Grant there. But I think that is game over. He's got no ERS to use. Grant,
now, what's not over though is Landcam and Patterson. Now this battle is not said and done. Mogi has left the session all of a sudden, but I think he's going to be okay if his AI can just make it across the line in
Grant
third.
Takes the win here in
Landcam does take 7th place. Grant takes the win. Landcam gets the move done in sector 2, but Patterson's going to have a run at him in sector 3. So let's not take our eyes off this one as we head round the final slow turn here before we get ready for these long right-hander followed by left-hander followed by right-hander, you know what I mean? This little twisty-turny bit in Sector 3 that's done at top speed.
He's lost it!
He's off it! No.
Huge bin!
Oh, that's a shame from Patterson, because again, we were saying, it's a good drive so far, good evening from Patterson. Yeah, that's a killer, that.
That's just out of nowhere, losing the car there, and now that's beached in the middle of the circuit. Wow, that was just pushing, just trying to, shift the weight shift in there of the car. Just losing that rear end, kicking it round, and game over, I think, from there. We've all done it.
Also, I realised just then I said, he's lost it, because I was like mid sip of beer. Never mind.
There we go.
He's not done anything to his lost.
No.
Just waiting for the final drivers to cross the line then. So you've got Osborne and Albert as well. There we go. There's the timing done. So, well, that was entertaining. How many DNFs did we have there?
We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 DNFs as well. I'm
only
gutting for Ethan there on the final lap, but pushing to catch Lanarcam, and I think, to be fair, he would have potentially had enough on that DRS zone to do it.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's anyone else you can give the Driver of the Day award to tonight for this race. Coming from the back. It's got to be, isn't it?
We giving it to Grant?
I think it's got to be. There's no...
Yeah.
To come from the back in Baku.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot to do, isn't it? Back in Baku.
There's a lot to do, but we will say though, Joseph Rados, fastest lap of the race, so he'll pick himself up an extra point for that.
Yeah,
141.3 there. So we scroll
Mogi as well.
Through the order.
Got to give him a shout out. 2 podiums tonight.
Oh, double
He's
Uber.
done well. He's done bits there.
Double bloody Uber.
Double bloody Uber.
A little scroll down to the bottom of the order. Just to see, unfortunate DNF there for Wolsey, finishing 18th on lap 1. You've got to feel for him through no fault of his own.
Yep, but in the end, that's racing, and shit happens. So, good 2 races tonight. I enjoyed this. This was entertaining.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't looking forward to USA, but that really did keep me entertained, and I knew Baku would be chaotic. And we weren't wrong there.
We were not disappointed with that one. That did hit the fan very, very quickly from the get-go, didn't it?
Yeah.
But we will race again next week, of course, and we are now over halfway through the season. Grant's still the one to beat, still showing his dominance here in the SlyDog Racing League. Who can beat him? Who can have him?
At this rate,
just having a good old look there.
Yeah, as I say, at this rate, I just can't see it happening anytime soon. Even when you think you've got someone close to him that can really sort of, put the pressure on, as in Joseph did this evening, he still manages to pull out a 2-second lead at the end. It's just trying to keep up with that guy. You need him to make a mistake if you're gonna take a win off him this season. I think that's what we might have saw earlier in the season at Netherlands, the only race he hasn't won so far.
Yeah. I think you could well be right, but next week on the 10th, we'll see us here again for rounds 15 and 16 of the SlyDog Racing League. Will be Silverstone and Vietnam. So Vietnam, an interesting shout.
Again, one of them circuits we don't know much of because it's only really in this game, and I think I've played it like once.
I think I've raced it once in career mode, and that was enough.
Everyone seems to hate it. Yeah, everyone seems to hate that track. But we do get Silverstone, and we get qualifying at Silverstone as well. So that is a little bit of a consolation. Right, so this has been fun. Let's do it again next week.
Indeed, but for now, I think rounds 13 and 14...
We'll call it a day there.
Let's call it a day on that. Obviously, we'll keep you up to date next week with all of the repercussions, penalties, etc., that are laid down following this week's races. But in the meantime, I hope you all have a great week.
Yeah, have a lovely week, guys. See ya.
Ciao, ciao.